Welcome to another episode of the Dynamic Thriving Podcast. I am your host, Mary Ann Pack, spiritual guide into all things life transformational. And today I am so excited to have my dear friend and colleague, Meredith Vaish, with me today. Welcome, Meredith.
Hello. So excited to be here. Thank you.
I'm so happy you're here. Meredith and I met through Darla Ledoux and a sourced experience. So I want to give a shout out to our dear coach, Darla, and our mentor. And also this show is in collaboration with the Ladies Power Lunch. And if you ladies are looking for an awesome Facebook group in which to belong, Ladies Power Lunch is the place to be. You can look up groups on Facebook under Ladies Power Lunch, or also you can visit their website, ladiespowerlunch.com, because we have one rule in that club, and it is that we intentionally support one another. So would love for you to join. Meredith and I are both members and very active members. So join us there.
Yeah.
So
huge value. Love that place.
Yes. Let's just jump right in and ask you, Meredith is, and what good do you bring into the world?
Ooh, who am I? I am a clarity coach, and I'm the founder of PauseBox. I founded my company 3 years ago after taking a jump out of corporate. I was in corporate for 20 years of my life doing marketing strategy, and just was not feeling it anymore. It was really, I was literally getting sick from repetitive stress injury at my computer. So I knew that corporate was not a place I could heal, and I knew there was something else waiting for me. And really it's that feeling of potential that helped me take the leap. I took a year-long pause without salary, which was really hard, and really went into kind of a soul journey about who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. So that is how PauseBox was founded. And now I help women take maybe not such a drastic leap, maybe take a little tiny leap into finding out what's next for them.
Awesome. And you're a clarity coach. Can you explain that just a little bit?
Yeah. So, boy, there's so many kinds of coaches. And I think my gift really is around bringing clarity to a situation. I have a superpower where I see possibility. When I'm talking to someone, I can see where they're stuck, where they're holding themselves back. I can see also just like huge growth potential and what the do different looks like. And so really my job as a coach is to help guide the women that I work with to really get clear. And they get clear not just in their head, because that's important, but they're really recruiting their intuition, their spirit, their soul to create that next phase in their life, that next expression of who they are. So that whole clarity, I find, comes in handy because we're often incredibly confused. We tend to like to stay confused. We tend to make things hard on ourselves, do a lot of pros and cons lists and create the mentalizing that sort of keeps us stuck. So clarity is really that cutting through all that noise clutter and into what it is you want to do.
Right. Yeah, because when you're doing pros and cons, you're in two different energies, constantly batting back and forth. You're in the positive, then you're in the negative, then you're in positive, and then you're
Ooh, I hadn't thought of it that way.
Oh,
yeah.
I do.
No
when
wonder
I think
it's
about
so
pros and con list, I'm like,
nuh-uh.
that's positive, and I don't need to bat myself. Talk about confusion.
Right.
But that you bring in the intuition, the quiet, wise part of ourselves that can put the restful peace over all the noise.
Exactly. I think having been a thinker all my life and sort of, I have this history of kind of overdoer, overachiever, always excelling, and which is awesome as far as a success strategy in life. But what it did is it left me incredibly, what's this word, like without any energy, because I was just doing it from the head. I was not doing it from the heart or the gut. And so in the work that I do with the busy women that I work with, we do a lot around intuition, and literally I have exercises that will, in fact, I think you've done it with me, that sort of sneaks in intuition without making it hard. So sometimes intuition can be hard to access because you're like, well, is that really intuition? Am I making it up, et cetera, et cetera? Well, I have this process called the rip and reveal, which is
Mhm.
such an easy process. It creates just random input, visual input that I think humans are designed to respond to emotionally. And the minute you get that um, kind of lift in energy, you get a clear picture and you get a forward momentum. And so I love using intuition in my work when it comes to clarity.
Yes, 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 absolutely. So our topic today is getting into the golden zone.
Ooh,
Ooh,
who wants that?
what's that? We're going to talk about that. But first, I want to ask, because I know this topic will just weave itself beautifully through our conversation.
Mm.
So, what problems do you help your clients solve? What is the transformation that they receive in working with you?
Yeah, I think it's a lot, obviously, the clarity, right? So going from not knowing what you want or just feeling stuck or not knowing what's next into a clear um, feeling, intention, um, activation. So a lot of the work I do is all around inspired action because I think we can
Ooh.
get too complacent in our heads and wait for things to be perfect and have
Mm.
the full plan. And that is not going to cut it because I think you learn as you go. And I think the universe rewards people who take action with lots of insight and direction. So so that whole clarity is huge. And then the other part of my work is obviously taking a break, right? So I work with people who are very much wired like I am, which is this kind of overworking, overdoing set point, right? And as women, we are so capable and we take on so much. And we really rarely give ourselves permission to take a step back and to take a pause. So I also have a whole program around just that, just like what does a pause look like? And for me, it's not just a spa day. It's like it's really a spiritual journey. It's at the end of that pause, my my mission is to have you have more deepened connection with your own soul, and so that you can have that dialogue about where you go from there. So that's the main transformation I help my clients with.
Yeah. I like to think about, intuition is, the communication
Mm.
between us and our inner being. And you were talking about um, you know, that bringing clarity, our intuition bringing
Mm.
clarity, and questioning yourself, is that me or is that my intuition? And
Yeah.
one time I remember I was visiting with my spirit guides, the many, and I said, that kind of sounds like me. Is that thought me or is that from you? And they said, well, of course it sounds like you because we're using your language. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, ding, ding, ding. No wonder it sounds like a thought. And yet, when I continue to write or listen to them or whatever, it's like something mind blowing, they said. And they're going, oh, yeah, that's not me. That definitely didn't come from me. It's
Isn't
just
that
a
so
sound.
funny?
They're just using my words. So,
Yes.
to reassure ourselves that many times it is our intuition. Um,
It is. It shows up as imagination. It shows up as
Absolutely.
inspiration. It shows up as what do you call this? When things are sort of synchronized and all this
Yeah, synchronicity.
synchronicity. Thank you.
Mhm.
I mean, our intuition is so um, resourceful. And so I just don't even play the game anymore. Was that me or was that my intuition? I just assume it's all being guided, and my job
Mhm.
is just to pay attention. I do know when I'm getting into ego because what that does is it feels different. It feels more like a forcing or a pushing or a proving. And I know those energies. I know what that feels like in my body, and so I can distinguish. Oh, okay, that's me needing to be important or needing to be special or needing to be successful. The rest of the time, it's like, nope, that's all just sourced, and I'm rolling with
Mhm.
it.
I love that. So, what makes your approach unique to you? What makes it Meredithish?
Meredith Vaish. I think the fact that I am such a an unlikely spokesperson for pause, that's very unique to me. I think there are a lot of gurus out there who do this really naturally and have a gift for it. And I find that taking a pause and really relaxing into trust and allowing and honoring that inner voice,
Mhm.
these are things I have to work at. So I think my special sauce is, if you're someone where this doesn't come easy for you, I know exactly how that feels. And I've created so many practices and reframes and resources to help you move into it. So I'm not for the person who's like, I'm a natural meditation person and I meditate all the time. And I probably won't have a lot to offer you. But if you're someone who like lives in, the corporate world or the business world, you're an entrepreneur and you're constantly, I call myself an energy swinger. I would love to say that I lived in the golden zone all the time, and we can talk about what that means. But really, I move around the grid from hustle to struggle to autopilot. And yes, I get into the golden zone and
Mhm.
I revel it when I'm in there, but then I'm pop back out into my other zone. So I think that's my distinction, is I'm a lot like my clients. I just have a little more resource and tools to show the journey.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, we're always, you know, a few steps ahead
Yes,
of where our clients may be.
exactly.
We're in the same boat. It's all very similar. So talk to us. What is the golden zone?
The golden zone. So
Sounds
I
wonderful. I want to be
Doesn't it? Don't you want to stay there? I want to just wrap myself in a little golden energy. So the golden zone is exactly what you can imagine. It's that place where things are flowing, helpers abound. There's just very little resistance. You are creating, and everything feels easy. You feel centered. You feel held. All the good things that we think about, that is the golden zone. And what I've found is, because I was such an energy swinger and I was constantly trying to get back to the golden zone, I realized that there is an absolute framework for how to see your energy, how you're showing up. And the minute you can see where you are, you can draw a path back to the golden zone. So that you're not just sitting there spinning your wheels going, oh, why am I in such a funk today? Why can't I feel that creative energy that I normally feel? So the framework is this. I'm going to draw it in your imagination, but I do have a quiz on my site that you can take the quiz and you will get this as a download, so you don't have to remember it. But what I've found is that there are really four energies. The golden zone is the kind of that place we're all trying to get to and spend lots of time.
Mhm.
And then the three others are sort of the default energies. And these are how we show up when we're not in the golden zone, when we're not in that creative, powerful place. So the three quadrants are, there's the hustle zone. And I've already talked about how much I relate to the hustle zone. There's the struggle zone, which is a little bit more, I would say, like the struggle is real. Like when your life is in struggle, it feels very tangibly struggly. Hustle is much more, you're just moving fast, you're
So
proving
fast.
yourself. Yeah, things are like you're making things happen. It's a very male kind of energy. And then there's this interesting zone called the autopilot. And the telltale sign of an autopilot is you're kind of you're stuck in neutral, you're sort of cruising through life. It's not necessarily a bad energy, it's just kind of a checked out energy. The image I always think of is someone who's sleeping because they're just on autopilot. And
It
so
feels
what I've
like numb to me. Autopilot is just kind of numb. You're not
kind of
feeling
numbed out,
highs or lows. You're
just neutral. And I think that's a great insight, because the if I were to go on the horizontal axis of this kind of 4x4, from the left, you have all this toil, right? Lots of effort. And
right.
on the right side, you have trust.
Oh,
And so you can imagine that hustle is going to be over here in this toil and make it work. And golden zone is going to be over here in that sort of trust and allow.
mhm.
And then down, if you were to go into the lower, sort of the vertical axis, you would have at the bottom self-forgetting. And that's where autopilot shows up,
Yes.
because you really are not tuned in. You're not having dialogue, internal dialogue. Yours is, you're probably doing a lot of pleasing and a lot of showing up for other people and how they need you to be,
Mhm.
but not a ton of your own inventory of how you want to show up. And then take that vertical line and go to the top, and that's self-honoring. So you can see that the golden zone is going to be high in self-honoring and high in trust. And so for the hustlers, their job is to get over to trusting more, right? So really letting go. So I find control is a huge thing for hustlers. How can you let it go? How can you allow? How can you believe that everything's always working out for you? So it's really moving on that trust access. And then for the autopilot folks, it's really about how can I be more intentional, right? How can I self listen? Because sometimes we abandon ourselves. I've had years where I didn't check in. I was just in survival mode.
Mhm.
So really that intention gets you up into the energy of that golden zone. So what can I do to listen to myself and to honor myself? And then the struggle folks, I have to say, I don't work with a ton of strugglers. And the reason is they're often not looking for help.
Right.
They are usually so fixed in their situation and so fixed in their mindset that I would say there's just a ton of victim energy there. And I don't tend to see those folks asking for a lot of help. I still have remedies for them. So the funny thing is we go through these zones all the time, and we go through them in all different facets of our life. So I may be in my relationship, I may be feeling incredibly golden right now with my
Mhm.
beautiful children who haven't yet gone off to college, and I still have a wonderful, relationship with, and everything is really just honored, and there's shared time. So that I would feel very golden about. And then there could be like finances could feel hustly, right? Like, okay, so how am I making the revenue? Where's that next program coming from? What are some of my next goals? So that could feel very hustly energy. I might I know in the past, in my relationship with my husband, things have been on autopilot, right? Like we've been raising kids, we've been launching companies, and the romantic thing has just been coasting, coasting, coasting. So I use these quadrants. There's no bad labels. Like you really, it's to honor where you're at and to help you go, oh, right. Okay, if I'm in autopilot, how can I be more intentional? What is the intention? What do I want? What do I desire? And it really just helps frame the journey back to the golden zone in
Yeah.
whatever part of your life you're imagining. Does that make sense?
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
hard
Because
to.
it's yes, but it's the awareness of where we are.
Yeah.
That recognizing, checking in with yourself, just being willing to do that. Check
Yeah.
in with myself. Am I in hustle or on autopilot, or am I struggling, or am I actually golden?
Yeah.
Just recognizing where we are and then doing something about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I find that naming is,
oh yeah.
90% of the game is just because otherwise you feel like you're being
Mhm.
tossed around in your day-to-day emotions. I'm a very emotional, my human design is all about emotional authority. So my emotions can go,
Right.
and I often feel very not really rooted. But if that's why this rubric was so important to me, is where am I on my energy map? And if I don't want to be where I am, how can I, increase my trust, or how can I increase my intention or my self-listening so that I can get into that huge creative energy? Because the assumption here, and I probably should name it, is we are all creators of our own life,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
So we're creating our life no matter what. I want to create my life from the golden zone
Yes.
because that just feels quantum. It feels powerful. It feels aligned and
Yes.
sourced. And obviously, we're sourced in all these categories. Everything is working for us, not against us. But to name where you're showing up and then be intentional about how you want to show up, that feels like a huge
Yeah,
value when you're kind of stuck and floundering.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I usually say our mess is our message.
Yeah.
So what was your mess? What caused you to be called to do this work? Because it's always a calling and there's always a story.
Yes, I love the
I
message.
love stories. So you have to tell me a story.
Yes. Okay, I'll tell you a story. Um, yeah, I think I've shared this with you before, but it was in my corporate career. I was head of a marketing department. I had a lot of responsibility. We're in Silicon Valley, so I was in charge of a tech project. I happen to have an expertise in email marketing. Anyway, we had an old legacy system. We had brand new consultants. They came, we were going to migrate the system. I took on the responsibility of that project 2000%, as a good hustler would. And I worked around the clock because my consultants were working around the clock, and I was not honoring any ergonomic practice at all. I was working on my kitchen table, I was working on my phone, I don't even think I had an office at the time at home. So I was just working all the time, and I was in terrible posture. And what happened after, I would say, 3 months of that, I woke up one day and my entire right side of my body just blew out. And when I say blew out, I could not lift a mug, a fork. I couldn't turn the doorknob on my door. It was dead in this whole area. And what was so powerful about being in that hurt and wounded place is that I was told by my HR that I had to take a break. And I was really scared. I felt like people were going to judge me. I felt like this is just stupid. Like, I should be able to get over it. Like, come on, hand, like a mouse. How can a mouse make an injury like that? It wasn't some dramatic, huge thing. It was just a dumb, repetitive stress over time without taking a break, which there was a message in there, not taking a break. So I was given an acupuncturist to see, and it was my first time seeing one. And I was really scared of the needles. I thought, "Ooh, this is going to be awful." And she was lovely, and she's, sees so many people who have this injury in Silicon Valley. And she has me lay down, and she puts in the needles, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm totally, this is fine. I got this. And she's like, "Okay, so I'm going to leave you here for 20 minutes, and then I'll check back." And I'm like, "What? 20 minutes?" And then she turns off the lights and she closes the door, and I'm sitting there with my thoughts face down on that table. And the needles must be doing their work, and the energy is getting realigned. Of course, I'm oblivious to all that. All I know is waves and waves of grief and sorrow and regret and relief and compassion. And just I laid there just sobbing, because it was the first time I had ever taken a break and received healing. Right? I had never received healing in my life. I was always go, go, go. Don't worry about me. I got this. I don't need anything extra. And so I think it was a combination of the receiving and of the time with myself and my thoughts. And that was when I decided I'm never going to do this to myself again. And there are a lot of people who need my help getting out of that constant go, go, go. So that was my mess. I was in a real mess, and I left corporate. I jumped out, as I told you, and went on a sabbatical to really find my next gig. And I have to say, being in Silicon Valley, we're all very romantic about finding the next $1 million idea. So that's what I thought I was doing. But really what I was doing is I was tuning in, and my $1 million connection was to my spirit and to my intuition. And I thought, this is the secret sauce that women should have when they're ready. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And thus Pause Box was born.
Pause Box. And it is a box. I don't know if you can see it. There it is. And
Someday
when the time is right, it will be a kind of at-home self-care, do-it-yourself pause kit that women can buy and really nourish themselves and go on their own spiritual journey. So that is my big vision that I hold for Pause Box. And right now I'm, working with amazing women and getting the tools and just investing in all of the experience so that that box will be really profound when it's ready to launch.
How exciting.
Yay!
Yes, yay, celebration. So how can people connect with you? What have you got going on?
I have so much going on, as you can imagine.
Over here.
Yeah.
You've got to slow down and
I'm in all the places.
Zone.
Yes, I love Instagram and Facebook. So on Instagram, you can find me at Pausebox Co. And on Facebook, I have a Possibility Facebook group. It's a free Facebook group. And it really is to cultivate that self-listening, that take time out, switching mindsets from that hustle and control freak place to a more golden place. So definitely join me on my Possibility Facebook page. I would absolutely love to have you there. And then LinkedIn is the other place that I'm posting all of my enriching content and reminders to slow down and tune in.
I love that.
Oh, and then the most important part is this energy quiz. Takes less than 10 minutes. It's called the energy quiz, and once you take it, you get your results. So are you feeling hustle? Are you feeling struggle? Are you feeling autopilot? Or maybe you're feeling golden. And then it gives you specific remedies. So if you're in those different energies, how can you access golden? So that is a quiz that's on my website. It's pauseboxco.com. And there's a pop-up and you can sign in to take that quiz.
Very good. And all of these links will be in the show notes for y'all.
Oh, fantastic.
So,
thank you.
Trying to scrounge those up. So I want to thank you, Meredith, for this. This has been such a delight to get to spend some time with you and share you with my audience.
I love it. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Absolutely. Do you have any nugget of gold, words of wisdom you would like to leave us with today?
Give yourself a break. Take a minute, tune in. Yeah, it's worth it. Worth its weight in gold.
Absolutely. And listen to your intuition. Go to Meredith and let her help you find that communication, that link between you and and the greater part of you and the eternal part of you.
The creator self. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks, Marianne.
So, absolutely. I want to thank everyone for listening. It's been our pleasure to be with you, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this podcast because it really helps my work go into the world and bring more joy. And as always, you're invited to visit my website, maryannpack.com, for all of our services. And I look forward to hearing from you. And be sure and contact Meredith if you are in that hustle, struggle, or what was the other
Autopilot.
Autopilot. And you want to be in the golden zone. She's your gal. She is the one to talk to. So I just want to appreciate you. I appreciate you all. And thank you again, Meredith. I appreciate
you. Awesome.
And remember, everyone, you are joy, looking for a way to express.